When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
Take my hat off.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Moss?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Done.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a
the doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. Lord have mercy. It's been a busy week. So we had a guest scheduled for today who was not able to make it, discussing one fair wage, Angelo Greco. So let's just throw Angelo under the bus. One fair wage, for those who do not know, is about getting those in the hospitality industry, i.e. waiters, to get a fair wage. Now, I'm not sure what the dollar amount is today, but back in my day, I think we made $2.01 per hour plus tips. Now, many of us were able to live off of our tips, but if you were not getting a lot of tips, then your check would be maybe $50 or $75 a week. And I don't think anybody can live off of $50 or $75 at any juncture in American history, at least in the past 30, 35, 40 years. But nonetheless, one fair wage, we want you to be aware of it. We want you to do well by your service. You know, many restaurants today, interestingly, since COVID, restaurants will add the tips in on your bill. I know they do that at Mo's Center for Community. There you go. Michael Randolph, Mr. Faithful. He's probably our top fan around the country. Many thanks. But many restaurants put the tip already into the bills, and it's just a reminder that when you do go out, look at your check, look at your bill. I don't want a double tip. I want to tip accurately. And I'm a 20%er at least. Service is good, might give you 25%, having worked in that business. It's always interesting when you're around people who have no knowledge of the restaurant business, and particularly Black people, and they'll say, tip me. A lot of us Black people have a challenge tipping, but that's only because we don't know any better. Once you've been exposed to how tipping works, typically Black people are your best tippers because we understand how it is genetically. I guess it's in our DNA. We disdain having to work for free. Amen. So yesterday in downtown Baltimore, kudos to Shalonda Stokes, CEO of the Downtown Partnership. Kudos to the mayor, Brandon Scott, his chief administrator, Faith Leach, to City Council President Nick Mosby. Now, the first event I'm going to tell you about is the grand opening of Prim and Proper down on Redwood Street, 200 block of Redwood Street. Very, very nice restaurant. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. Can you see that picture? This is probably my favorite picture that I was able to take. This is one of the owners sitting up on a piano, a stand-up piano. But they have a really nice wall. Let's see if that's a video of the wall. That gentleman there was one of the designers who made the chef's uniform and also the waiter's uniform. And I'll tell you, it made me think like, man, might be nice to jump back into the restaurant business. But I think those days have passed. Very nice restaurant. Now, let me just tell you, Redwood Street is not a place known for black businesses. But now in right off of South Street, right around the corner from Billy Murphy's office, you've got the Afro-American newspaper, founded in 1892, if I'm not mistaken. One of, if not the oldest, continually operated black newspapers in America. And of course, you know, that's my bailiwick, the Black Press. And then now in that 200 block of Redwood Street is Prim and Proper. Council President Nick Mosby, when he went to give them a resolution yesterday, he had a nice little flow going. And of course, Nick has been in and out of court this week on behalf of his ex-wife, Marilyn. Good morning, world. My man, Doug Jones, Howard County. Nick Mosby was there last night. I tried to give him some encouragement. Nick said, I say prim, you say proper. Prim, proper, prim, proper. It was beautiful. It was beautiful considering 3 years ago when Shalonda first took over Downtown Partnership CEO. They've never had a black CEO. And when she took over 3 years ago, for me, there were many questions like, is Shalonda going to be able to make a difference? I mean, yeah, she got a pretty face, but will she be able to navigate and negotiate with these white power brokers who have clearly demonstrated their lack of affinity for African Americans in downtown? I think back to the incident with the Atlas Group restaurant that told the black mother who had a little boy that you can't come in here, when her little boy was dressed no differently than a white little boy who was already inside the restaurant with his mother. So we've experienced that in downtown Baltimore in the 21st century. And I must tell you, it is not something that we are fond of. The same Atlas Group, for those who may not know, is associated with Fox 45, the Smith family, the ones who put up Thurut Vignaraja and who now have a different mayoral candidate in Sheila Dixon. But this is the same Smith family that now owns the Baltimore Sun. So I want black people in particular in a 63% black city, in a 73% black and brown city, where Fox News goes after most every black elected official on the books, to understand the dynamics. Now, you know, we will always love Sheila Dixon. We certainly wish her the best in the campaign. This has nothing to do with Sheila Dixon. This has everything to do with the Smith family and their chicanery over the years as it relates to black people. If I bring my child with me and you tell me that my child can't come in your funky ass restaurant when you got a white kid dressed the same way, then I have a problem with you. I don't think you deserve to be in business. I don't think you deserve to be serving anybody. But a lot of us, on the other hand, we are so fascinated by things that we lose our goddamn mind. Keep your integrity, people. So all in all, Prim and Proper is a really swank, classy, sophisticated restaurant. Shalana was telling me that you have to go to, if you come to Baltimore, there's some restaurants that you have to go to. She said the Swan, the Black Swan is one of them. And God, I keep forgetting the other one. But we need to be aware, and I gotta get caught up on the other restaurants. I have to find a statement. But the Black Swan, Poppy's Cuisine, that's it. Great job, Donnie. Poppy's Cuisine, and now Prim and Proper. So I'm also reminded of the power of the black dollar. There would be no damn Inner Harbor if it weren't for black people. And we aware of all of the tourists, but back when Obama gave Stephanie Rollins Blake the millions during the rescue of our inner cities after the colossal failure of a President George Bush, that money went downtown. That money went all downtown, all down. All that money that's supposed to come uptown went downtown, and downtown still flopped. Remember the money that they put into the Grand Prix? Flopped. Took money from the recreation centers, put it downtown, flopped. When are we going to invest in uptown? Now, I did not support Brandon the first time. I supported Sheila, of course. That was 2020. Supported her in 2016. But I'd have to say, and this is separate from the election, and his timing has been downright impeccable. But Mayor Brandon Scott is going to be tough to beat. He's going to be tough to beat, particularly since the Daru Vignarajah jumped into the race, because it adds one more person to slice up the votes that Brandon does not get. I don't know if his base is gone, if they've stayed. I haven't done that type of poll. I do not know. There's some things that people could hate him for, including Baltimore Gas and Electric, 3 white women that got manhandled down at Federal Hill. But despite all of that, one thing I do love about this young mayor is his blackness. Now, I'd like to see a lot more Park Heights, especially surrounding the Preakness. But this mayor has been black, unapologetically black. Did I tell you that's the name of one of my books? Available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Autobiographical in nature. I talk about the interrelationship of politics and economics, that you can have all of the black elected officials. George Jackson, you can have all of the black elected officials in the world. W-O, is that 14th? Is that 95.9, Radio 1. Hey, George Jackson, you can have all of the black elected officials in the world, but if that doesn't translate into economic empowerment for your community, you have nothing. You have nothing but window dressing. You have nothing but a fancy tie and a pretty shirt. That's all you have. You have nothing. You got a black governor. You got a black attorney general, a black treasurer. Damn, black people run the Board of Public Works. We could be upending, throwing out stuff. We could be helping people on child support with unnecessary arrears, because their child support system in terms of arrears is ridiculous. When has that been revisited? You want a special session? Do a special session on child support. There are a lot of fathers that want to be in the lives of their children, but they cannot be because of lack of driver's license. Now, let me tell you, for those who do owe child support, there are resources for you. If you have a job that wants to hire you, all you need is a letter from them on their letterhead, and take that to child support, and you can get a driver's license. Didn't know that. People get charged one rate and say you lose your job. You have the right, if you owe child support, to go back to court for an adjustment. You can't pay what you don't have. But a lot of us don't know that. And by the time we look up, we at 20, 30, 40 grand in the hole. I'm just saying to the brothers in particular, don't give up. there are resources, there are opportunities. But with all of these black elected officials, we can reverse a lot of this stuff that's sticking to us. In the beginning of the show, and I refer to this almost every show, Dr. Michael Zolikoff talks about our disdain, our collective disdain for poor black people. How quickly we forget. We get a little job, a little 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 a year, and all of a sudden now our nose is up in the air. We only want to live in certain neighborhoods, Baltimore County, Vandalstown, Hoodlawn, and owing my arm and my leg mills. Okay, that's nice. But don't forget your cousins just down the block, because you never know when you might need to go stay with them. That's all I'm saying. But nonetheless, with all of these black elected officials on the state level and the city level, we need to be making sure that black people get a piece of the pie. Last night, I spoke, and the mayor spoke about P. David Bramble. And we'll get to the whole Baltimore Times event last night, the Best of Black Baltimore. I was really glad to be there. DC Black Wall Street Initiative, George Jackson, $100 million project. Beautiful, George. Many of these city and state electeds use the people as game pieces to maneuver their way to power. Power over what? I mean, I hear the term power over what? Can you get 100 people hired? Because that's power. That's power. Power over what? I heard, remember they used to call Nick and Marilyn the power couple. Power over what? Over what? A lot of times we get caught up into this Black Camelot thing and forget, that we're just, not just, but that we have to keep it simple. We cannot live like white people. We do not operate under the same parameters, rules, what have you. You're black. If you're black and you get in your car and you go down North Avenue, you can get pulled over just for being black. White people don't deal with that. Matter of fact, white people, a lot of the comedians joke, yell at police officers. Black people don't yell at police officers because we know that is a very sure way of getting landing in central booking. We operate under different rules. It's a different society. Just like in Roland Park. Roland Park put up some fake obstacles to stop the people in Hose Heights, a black community, historically black community, right next door to Roland Park. They put up this little plastic block to stop these people from using the access street to Roland. Who in the hell does that but some sick ass racists? And control over what? What do you control? We barely control ourselves. As you get older and get up there in age, you find out your children might be taking care of you. You don't control nothing. You might used to control that checkbook, but one stroke, one heart attack, one fall, and your whole world will be turned upside down. And then you will be dealing with the same world that many of our brothers and sisters are dealing with on a regular basis. So we can't get too hardy. We can't get too erudite that we lose our humility. Humility can serve us well. And being kind and looking out for people. There was a time when we used to look out for each other a lot better than we do today. There was a time when we understood that service is the rent we pay for living. There's a time when we understood giving your neighbor a cup of sugar because next week they might need to send you a cup of flour. We can't get so individualistic in this facade of what America is, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Fendi, that we lose our humanity. A lot of us don't even speak to our neighbors. A lot of us have no respect for our neighbors. And if you have no respect for your neighbor, you really have no respect for yourself. We got to get back to the basics. I think back to my grandma. She had a basic rule. I stayed at grandma's house after school in my early years. We lived in East Baltimore. After school, I went to school in West Baltimore. After school, it was my job to go to grandma's house and wait there about 3 hours until my dad came and picked me up. Grandma come in the door about 3 o'clock. I'm in there watching Captain Chesapeake. Ahoy, crew members! Remember that song? Lost at sea, he was really a sight. He swam and swam till he thought he died. And a wondrous sight appeared to his eyes, a derelict boat that saved his life and put him into his watery strife. Grandma coming that door. Hey, Donnie boy. And I want y'all laughing. That's what Grandma used to call me, Donnie boy. Hey, Donnie boy. Donnie boy was glued in. I was tuned in. Channel 45. Moan D the Sea Monster. Bruce the Bird. Speed Racer. Go See Racer. I used to say Go See Racer. Go See Racer, go. Racer X, all of that. And Grandma said again, hey, Donnie boy. And she's just making her way across the living room, going into the dining room, headed to the kitchen to see Pop. And she said, one more time, hey, Donnie boy, 3 times, because that's what the elders believe in, 3 times, right? Donnie boy still glued in. Then she say those magical words. You don't speak, you don't eat. And she meant that, but I never tried it that far. Oh, Grandma Flossie. She loved 325 in the gospel hymnal. By and by, when the morning comes, when the saints of God are gathered round, we'll tell the story of how we've overcome. We'll understand it better by and by. Well, anyway, Grandma said, you don't speak, you don't eat. She get into that kitchen. Washington, D.C. has a great model that decriminalizes poverty. TZA-DECDC.org that has made powerful change. Very good, Ronnie Griffin. So Grandma get in that kitchen and she get the heating up them greens and that rice. I love my mama's greens. I love my mama's rice, but Grandma had her own little spin, and it was delicious. Put them pork chops in there. That kitchen be singing. That smell make it to the front room. I go moseying on in the kitchen. Good evening. Oh, you can speak now. Because remember, she said, you don't speak, you don't eat. Oh, you can speak now. Well, go on in there and wash your hands and sit at that table and act like you got some sense. Who had a grandma like me? Monetizing our young Black creators as authors, influencers, social media content creators, filmmakers, building Black Wall Street. Very good, George Jackson. That's what it's about. Well, anyway, Grandma taught me a lesson about manners. Yes, please. No, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. You know, there was a time in the Black community, you could say what to your mother if you wanted to, but you was going to get popped. I was talking with someone yesterday about the discipline that we endured versus the discipline that we implore on our children. Don't hit him. Don't smack him. Don't beat little people. I don't know where y'all come from. Where I come from, they ain't play that. You crack slick. You say something slick out your mouth, you liable to catch that ring. And you don't want to catch the ring on that finger. That ring finger, whop up, whop up, whop up, whop up, whop up. Bruce Lee ain't had nothing on my mother and father. Say some slick stuff. Say it. I dare you. You gonna catch that ring finger. Ain't nothing like that ring finger hitting your tooth. Big tooth. You're laying down on the ground, first of all, and you're holding your tooth. But at the same time, our parents just wanted us to stay out of the penitentiary, to be productive citizens. Deep down, they wanted us to find what it is that we love to do and do it. They just didn't take any foolishness. That's why I ended up majoring in media versus music, because I saw an easier track to getting a damn paycheck than music. I didn't necessarily want to play for the church, play a little piano, but I didn't want to play for the church. That was just not my calling. I really prefer jazz. But nonetheless, learned some great lessons from Grandma, and the biggest of them was respect and manners. And I think if we bring more respect and manners back to the community, back to our discussions, back in between men and women. I mean, when you think of the relationships between men and women in the Black community today, oftentimes they're toxic. We're not listening to each other. Everybody wants to make their point. We don't want to listen to the other person's point. when the truth of the matter is we're both wrong. We got to listen. We got to give respect. We got to listen to our children a little more. But children got to listen too. And I say, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. Now, I'm not for abuse. Matter of fact, I never had to put my hands on either one of my children, but I was willing to break their damn neck. Like my mother said, I brought you in this world and I'll take you out. Just never had to. Besides, their mothers were more than capable. Yeah, we want to respect little people, but we want our little people to have respect too. And the things that they say sometimes out of their mouth today, we could never say, because we would surely end up down shock trauma with a broken neck. Now, are you saying that Joe Madison got his wings, George Jackson? Joe Madison, the Black Eagle. Rest in peace to Joe Madison. Tributes pour in after the Black Eagle legend and activist dies at 74. For those who didn't know, I had an opportunity to work with Joe Madison down at WOL. This was back in 2002, 2003, when I first started my company. Thanks to William Poinsett and Dwayne Grady. We used to do a show on Saturday mornings out of WOL down in Lanham. Joe Madison, back in 2019, was inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame. For those who may not know, I did 21 years at Radio 1. We had the longest running, he died of prostate cancer. We had the longest running show, customized show, sponsored show in the nation, longer than any show anywhere in America for Radio 1. I've also been on WEAA since I was 15 years old. I still do a segment there, and we're looking to do even more. And I don't know that we have acknowledged on this show the passing of a giant here in Baltimore who did a show at least 32, 33 years, Mr. David Brown. He was on Sundays. Some of his featured guests, one of his featured guests included attorney Dwight Pettit. So he got his wings not long ago. Rent a barbershop chair? Who's gonna pay the rent, George? And broadcast your show from a barbershop? Okay, what's the thought? So, just want to tell you about the rest of yesterday. In addition to Prim and Proper, so after going to Prim and Proper, beautiful event located in downtown Baltimore, right there on Redwood, right off South Street. I did not partake of the food. I don't know, kind of was ready to get back uptown and get dressed for the Baltimore Times Best of Black Baltimore event. Now, for those who don't know, the Baltimore Times, located on Charles Street, has been in business, I think, over 40 years. Joy Bramble is the publisher. Her husband is Father Peter Bramble. They had a church, St. Catherine's, right there on Division and Pressman in West Baltimore. Actually, not far from where they live and still live. And her son, P. David Bramble, is the gentleman who will be redeveloping Harbor Place. He grew up right there on Madison Avenue, still lives there today. I think that's one of the most beautiful stories. How many upwardly mobile blacks, and this cat went to Princeton, clearly doing well, clearly well off. It's just a reminder that we can live anywhere. Because there's always this negative stigma. Oh, you live in Baltimore City. Yeah, I do. Proudly. As if something is wrong with living in Baltimore City. As if you won't get ganked in Carroll County or Allegheny County. Like there won't be a mass shooting up there in Herndon in Baltimore County where they don't really like black people, let alone Cecil County. We're aware you can get ganked anywhere in the state, anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world But I'll tell you this, if you give respect, generally speaking, you will get respect. A lot of people just don't give respect. And so when the clapback comes, people, are dumbfounded when you did it to yourself. But nonetheless, last night's event down at Harbor Place, the Light Street Pavilion, kudos to David Bramble for having a wonderful event, setting his mom up, the Baltimore Times, for a wonderful event down at the harbor. Mayor Scott was there. A lot of people I haven't seen in years. Oh my God, this one guy came up to me. Let me see if I can get his name. And he said that 20 years ago, I had mentored him, and it was just mind-blowing. The things he was telling me that he remembered. What's his name? J.T. Thomas. J.T. Thomas told me 20 years ago I mentored him. And he's since gone on to produce albums, his own television shows, interviewed everybody from Ja Rule to Jay-Z. And he paid him phenomenal homage to me. I was just floored. Big ups to J.T. Thomas. Slave name is Clarence Thomas, and he said he is not related. Had to put that out there. Great food. Just wonderful to see, especially considering, and big ups to David Bramble. I mean, wonderful, approachable guy, down to earth, as North Avenue can be, because he lives right off North Avenue. And he just dispels these myths as if being from North Avenue is like something's wrong with that. Shalana Stokes, straight out of East Baltimore. 20 years ago, I remember interviewing her right over there at Pat Chase. She's now the CEO of Downtown Partnership. I mean, she doesn't live in East Baltimore today, but there are these stigmas that we have, and we got to get rid of them. If we don't love ourselves, who will? My name is Donnie Glover. I want you to have a beautiful day. Believe in yourself, believe in your people, and support Black business. Have a great day. Good morning, world.